So let's dive into electric vehicles in Costa Rica and living autonomously. This is really a fun segment because what we're seeing here right now in Costa Rica is a hard push for electric vehicles. And there's a couple of reasons why that is. Right now, because it's rainy season, we have a situation where, and the demand went down, by the way, because of the COVID. What's happened is that they're overproducing with the hydro. Normally during a rainy season, we get to a point where they're up to 200% that they're actually overproducing. Not enough demand. So now all of a sudden, ISE and others are in a big jam because, again, rainy season is to the point where they got too much hydro, too much energy to sell, but not enough people to consume it. So that's why you see ISE really pushing for the electric vehicles to be adapted here in Costa Rica. They've even gotten to the point where everybody's throwing Recope under the bus. So we're in that position where ISE is putting that infrastructure, as you'll see in a moment here, but everything is going towards electrifying the country even more. What they didn't understand is by using solar and adapting to solar, now all of a sudden, you're taking away that demand again, and you're living more autonomously. I, again, actually have a Chevrolet Volt, one of the first ones in country, but I was able to test drive some vehicles from our next speaker here, and that's EV imports. I love the vehicles that he's bringing. He's one of the largest importers for electric vehicles in Costa Rica. So, Mariano, again, I'm going to open it up. Can you hear us, Mariano?
Yes, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, great.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Scott and Ben. Very, very pleased with the opportunity here. Can you let me share my screen? Is that possible?
Sure will. Yep. Okay.
Right.
Make presenter. Now you just have to go up to the top and say share screen.
All right. Yeah, here. I'm actually going back. Okay. So please feel free to interrupt with questions during my presentation. My name is Mariano Avalos. I'm co-owner of Costa Rica EV Imports. We are a family-owned business. We have had EVs since 2011. I think we are close to 4 years now of importing EVs to Costa Rica.
Oh, Mariano, we don't see your screen if you're showing your screen, but I just see a black one. Does anybody else see a screen?
Oh, one sec.
I think it says on the, there you go. Now we can see it.
Great. Thank you, Scott.
No problem.
So I think we're over 4 years now of importing cars to Costa Rica. Overall, the market has been, the response from the market has been very positive. It is growing at a very slow pace, but we have certainly placed ourselves as the number one option for local customers to acquire an electrical vehicle. We're providers of the end-to-end solution to purchase an EV. We offer parts and service for any vehicle that we sell. Also, we have expanded our product catalog of EV solutions, so we can supply cars, side-by-side vehicles, Tesla, which has proven to be a very challenging product to market. We have delivery EVs as well. They carry up to half a ton, and the minivans, which are 7-seaters. So we recently partnered up with Costa Rica Solar Solutions to bring our customers the complete EV experience and to help our customers to become self-sufficient in terms of electric generation and mobility. So we're always looking for more EVs or more EV products and options for our customers based upon their needs. So if I may, let's start with this presentation. This first part of the deck is basically a timeline of the history of electric cars. Electric cars go back to 1832. This one that you see here on this slide was developed by Robert Anderson, and it was one of the first crude EVs. So it wasn't until late 1800s that the EVs became practical. Actually, they came to a point where they were more desirable than the internal combustion engine cars, as they didn't produce any pollution, or they weren't as smelly as the internal combustion engines were. Back in the early 1900s, you could see here in a picture of New York City, where half of the cars were electric and half of the cars were internal combustion engines. Later on, Edison took over the electrical vehicle batteries, improving the design of those batteries for cars. Later on, we got the first electric hybrid that was invented, again, early 1900s. This was designed by Porsche. It had an internal combustion engine and an electric motor. Unfortunately, with the Ford Model T, the market and the decreasing or the very low cost of fuel at that time, the interest in electrical vehicles decreased significantly, almost to a point where they were non-existent. So it was until the gas or the prices of the gas came up in late 1960s, early 1970s, that some companies took interest in reviving the electrical vehicle. The moon rover was electrical for obvious reasons. The internal combustion engine cannot operate in the moon in those conditions. So, just a quick note there with the moon rover. The next generation on the early 1970s of electrical vehicles were very small cars with very limited operations or ranges. So as you can see there were like two-seaters, one-seater cars, and they were basically limited to city to be driven in the city. Again, the interest in electric cars fades away as getting closer to the 1980s, the cost of fuel decreased again. So later on, the new regulations, I think this came from California. The new regulations started to bring back the electrical vehicle. We had General Motors with the EV1, which was a run of about 2,000 units, I think, and they quickly became popular. And on the meantime, the Japanese got a little worried, I guess, and they started to produce the Toyota hybrid, the Prius, which was released in 2000. And it became it was basically an instant success. Everybody wanted a hybrid car from Toyota. Meanwhile, the batteries or the technology around batteries was being developed to get better performance of batteries that could be used in electrical vehicles. We get this back in 2006. We get a new company that you all know, Tesla. So they first started out with high-end cars, and basically they were on the range of 200 plus miles. So that really turned heads, and they started off with this new technology, and the cars are certainly very, very well made. They have a lot of the things that the other internal combustion engine cars don't have. So Tesla quickly became an outstanding brand for electrical vehicles. Uh, During this period, there was in the U.S. this nationwide charging infrastructure was being planned and built upon. So, of course, you could have an electrical vehicle, but if you don't have the nationwide infrastructure, then you're very limited. So that started around 2009, and more commercial chargers were available to the public. Um, General Motors finally came with a hybrid, which it is called the Bolt with V, and also a very great sales success with this car. It was recently it was recently outsold by Tesla Model 3, but just recently. This was a very a model that was very well adopted by the general public. Basically, this car is an electrical vehicle with an extended range. So what GM wanted to do was to cover with the battery the average travel distance that a U.S. citizen was doing on daily basis. So this car is capable of running up to 65 miles per in just batteries. So it was very well taken by the public. Then Nissan Leaf, as you all know or may know, that this was a very also a sales success. Basically, it was one of or the pure electrical vehicle with more cells, with the biggest cells, and again recently also by Tesla Model S. A very robust car, very good technology on it. Early models do have an issue with the batteries, but the second generation certainly don't present that sort of things with their batteries. Any questions so far? Haven't checked. All right, so let's keep on going. Again, the battery costs have been dropping since 2008. So that made the electrical vehicles more affordable. Certainly, the hybrid cars were a good step towards having a good offer of pure electrical vehicles. And right now, you can purchase a used car with a 60 kilowatt hour battery for less than $30,000, 2017 model. So that makes them more affordable each passing year. Let's skip this. Let's go into what are we facing here with the electrical vehicle. As you all know and remember, long distance calls were very expensive, and that technology went away with the IP phones that travel or use can have the capability of transmitting your voice through internet. So that basically took that high cost down, and we're now able to call anywhere in the world for very cheap. Also, we have the iPod, the smartphone, the Apple iPhone. We'll also Android, Uber, Airbnb, Tesla. All these players came in to modify our daily life. So basically, we're now experiencing the same with electrical vehicles. Some of the advantages of the electrical vehicles are that they're very simple. So, for instance, you have an internal combustion engine car that has over, in average, 2,500 moving parts, whereas the electrical vehicle only has 20 moving parts. So that makes it a lot simpler and statistically less prone to failure. Also, the efficiency of the electrical motor, you're talking about 90 to 95% of energy efficiency versus 17 to 21% on the internal combustion engine, where most of the energy is lost in heat, in form of heat. Also, if you take a look at the acceleration curve of the electrical vehicle, in So at zero speed, it will give 100% of the torque that the motor has, or that is capable to deliver. The internal combustion engine, you need to rev it up and use your gearbox and stuff, so that you can get the most output from that particular engine. So you see that electrical vehicles are faster, they're stronger, and they're more fun to drive. It's like driving a sports car in a
Very
commercial
true.
package.
Very true.
So you get accelerations of 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1/3 of the time that a regular combustion engine car will be able to manage. Also, very important, for each year that you use an electrical vehicle, you will you will be saving the environment 2 tons of carbon dioxide. This is in
Mhm.
average. If this is with a 12,000 kilometer average distance driven by user, right? So
Mhm.
if you use it more, then again you will stop polluting the air with more tons of carbon dioxide.
Mhm.
Uh, Also, the cost per kilometer or mile. So if you have 100,000 colones bill on your or gas bill, it will be dramatically reduced to 14,000 colones. So that's almost or more than 85% of savings. If you charge at home. Now, if you have a solar system, you can drop that to zero or close to zero.
Mhm. Mhm.
Very
That's
important
true.
there. That, they complement each other, and
Yep.
also the maintenance cost drops down 80%.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
there's a lot of savings around electrical vehicles.
When
Here
you
is
talk about, excuse me, when you talk about maintenance, I have to say with my Chevrolet Volt, the brake pads, believe it or not, the brake pads, I have a 2012, and they are the original brake pad and have over 75% of the life left still in them. And it's really incredible because, I mean, it's all, uh, you use regeneration all the way down to about 1 to 2 miles per hour, and then the brakes start coming in unless you have a real hard braking. But maintenance on electric vehicles is just, it's incredible. There's really nothing. In fact, in my case, the problem is since the calipers don't get used as much, I got to be careful because they rust. So, I mean, it's really crazy. My vehicle has over 130,000 miles on it, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, it's very important. Basically, what an electrical vehicle does is that when when you don't have the accelerator on, so you're moving along and the car is decreasing speed, the regenerative braking will be turned on. So basically, what the car does is that is bringing back charge to the battery with the inertia that the car has. So basically, you're charging back your car. That will make you use a lot less the brakes. So
Yep.
there's less need to use the brakes on an EV that if you compare it to the brake use on internal combustion engine car. So yes, lots of savings. You don't have oil change. You don't have many of the components that will break in the internal combustion engine car. The electrical vehicle just doesn't. They don't have it. So that's a very very good advantage.
Mhm.
Basically, you need to take care of the braking system, or that requires maintenance, AC system, and suspension and tires. That's pretty much what you need to worry about.
No oil changes, none of that. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's great. I mean, I've had mine for close to 4 years now, and we're very happy with the car. I mean, I can't recall last time I paid for an oil change or a repair, like regular repairs on
Mhm.
cars. So you don't have belts, you don't have spark plugs, you don't have any of those things that will worn out very very quickly. So that is a great advantage. Lots of
Mm-hmm.
savings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talking about the batteries of the car, we have 24 kilowatt hour batteries: 28, 30, 34, 42, 57, and 85. Um,
Wow.
Tesla right now is manufacturing cars with 100 kilowatt hour batteries. And I just, I sent a video to the Costa Rica Solar Solutions guys here, Ben and Scott, about General Motors that is building a gigafactory in which they will build big trucks with 200 kilowatt hour batteries on them. They're partnering with LG Chem, and apparently that's their market strategy. Very, building big cars with huge batteries on them. So,
Uh-huh.
in terms of batteries, and I think someone mentioned that in the question section, uh, the battery life expectancy here in Costa Rica tends to be favored. I
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
cars here that are 2011 models that we have
Mm-hmm.
done state of health test on them, and some of them have up to 89% of
Wow.
yeah a battery life remaining. So basically, on an electrical vehicle, if you don't experience those dramatic temperature differences between the day and between night and day, that certainly helps the battery life. So we may be we may have I don't know, 15 degrees difference between night and day. So that's very significant. Well, I'm sorry, not significant, the other way around.
Yeah.
uh, and that certainly helps with the life of the battery.
Well,
So
regarding that, I think also um, the key to this, and I think it you're seeing this throughout even all the new products that are coming out. It all has to have a liquid cooled battery system, and like for instance, on my Chevrolet Volt, I can actually regulate. I can see what the temperature of that battery is when I'm going to the beach. And it's really interesting because it uses the air conditioning system actually to cool down the fluid that goes through that battery and keeps that battery at a certain temperature. And like I say, I test drove some of your vehicles, and it was really incredible. Like the Fiat 500Es. I mean, all those vehicles, um, the battery is being cooled by liquid, and I think that's a primary part to keeping that degradation down.
yeah, basically the cars that have liquid cooled batteries tend to have better or a higher state of health in the batteries. So if you compare a Chevrolet with a Nissan, most likely the Chevrolet will have a higher state of health. So
Yep.
so
Now,
that's one detail about
because
liquid cooled batteries on electrical vehicles.
again, one of the problems that the Nissan Leafs had at the very beginning, apparently they were having issues out in places like Arizona, New Mexico, and those because they were just air cooled, and they had an issue with the batteries over temping, and they had to actually recall a bunch of those vehicles, and that was the first generation, as you had talked about before, with those battery systems.
Yeah, never buy a 2013 or lower your Nissan Leaf. They do have issues with the batteries.
Mm-hmm.
You will have problems if you buy a car of that year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
talking about batteries and chargers, there's three levels of charging in EVs. Level one is 110 volts. Basically, is the regular outlet that we all know where you connect your cellular phone. It's 12 amps, 12 amps. A battery of 24 kilowatt hours will take you around 10 to 12 hours from 0 to 100%. Level 2 charging is 220 volts. It could be at 16, 32, or 30, 30, 32, or 50 amps. That in a 24 kilowatt hour battery will take you around 3.5 hours.
Mhm.
Also, we have L3 charging, which is 480 volts in DC. This will dramatically decrease the amount of time, but the car has to have this capability. So, 24-hour kilowatt hour battery will take around 20 minutes to charge from 0 to 80% to charge. So it's right now we do have a very very large infrastructure here in Costa Rica. So we have L3 chargers in Dominical, which is the charger that you will be looking at using when traveling around the country. So we have those in Dominical, we have it in Orotina, we have it in Barranca, we have it in here at the Limonal, where you take the detour to Nicoya, and in Liberia, also Siquirres and Limon, in case you're going through or towards the Atlantic. Those chargers, the current infrastructure will be doubled by the end of the year.
Wow.
And basically, out of San Jose, well, we have another 6 chargers here in San Jose. But any of those that are outside San Jose, they're free. So basically, you travel with your car, and Scott can tell you a story there
Oh yeah.
where he traveled to Guanacaste, and he used L3 charger.
Yeah, I actually took out the Chevrolet Bolt, which is the cousin of the Chevrolet Volt. It's the pure electric. And let me tell you, that really did open up my eyes. I drove all the way from San Jose, all the way down to Puerto Ventas, Ventas, I can never say, Puerto Ventanas, okay, up in Guanacaste. And then I drove around there for about a day and a half, 2 days. And then I drove all the way back and I came down towards JSM, the gas station down by Punta Arenas, where I did a fast charge. So I did almost 400 and some odd miles. And I do have a video of this that we're going to be posting here soon. But basically, I did 400 and some odd miles and it was all free because right now at this moment, all the fast chargers up and down the highways, which there's a ton of them, are free at this moment. And I did the whole trip all on one charge. That was it.
Yeah, it's certainly a very very efficient car, the Chevrolet Volt. It has a big battery on it, almost 60. Well, it's marketed as 60 kilowatt hour battery, but in reality, it's 58. Um, and this slide that you see here, all those little green dots are chargers that you could use. So if you download this application PlugShare, you will notice that Costa Rica has the biggest or one of the biggest recharging infrastructures in Latin America. So that is very good. You can basically, with a 24 kilowatt hour car, can go anywhere in the country and be able to charge in these different spots all over the country. So
And even, individual companies are putting them in. Restaurants and everything else, we're seeing ESA hitting them up to actually put in charging stations there.
yeah, correct. There's also private efforts towards that sort of service. We certainly have the Ruta Eléctricas, which
Mhm.
Monteverde has one and Arenal has another. So you can look at the Luxury application and basically book a hotel that will have a charger, and you can recharge your car there for free. So
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
is one effort that has been going on for the last few years in terms of hotels being able to host uh, you know uh, their um, their customers with with the capability of them recharging their electrical vehicle at their, while they stay there. So
Hmm. Hmm.
we handle different brands, all those that you see there: Tesla, Nissan, Hyundai, Volkswagen, Mercedes, not so much, but BMW, Fiat, Ford, Chevrolet, and Kia. So
Hmm.
let's go quickly over some of the models we have here in our showroom. We have this little guy, the Fiat 500e. It's a city car. It's limited as it only charges level 1 and level 2. But if you have short commutes of no more than 130, 150 kilometers, then it's a very, very well manufactured car. It's one of my favorites, actually. I very often drive one. I do
Hmm.
enjoy it very much. It's a little, small, fun car. It's a
Yep.
four-seater, two-door, or well, three doors. It's a hatchback, and it's very energy efficient car, and it, people like very much the looks of the car. It is
Oh
very
yeah.
yeah, we customize the car. You could have a black roof and different settings on the colors of the seats. Also, the dash colors are different. Some of them come in white, gray, or black. So very fun car.
And they have sunroofs. Now, I actually test drove one of those, and it is, I mean, if you're in the Central Valley, or if you're actually, think about this, you live up in Tamarindo, okay, or you're up and down there. People don't realize nowadays when you go, especially up in the northern area, less in the south, but if you go in the northern area, you can go from place to place without even hitting a dirt road. Okay. I mean, I've driven up there so many times, and you just go straight up in Tamarindo, and you can go all over the place, and you're on roads that you can take, these smaller cars. So if your daily commute is only about 20 miles, 30 miles, 40 miles, heck, these are the best bargains because you can actually charge it up with your solar, and you're living autonomously with these small vehicles, and you're doing your day to day commutes.
Yeah, certainly a car that is very well built and for the price point, it makes a lot of sense. One important thing, many people here try to buy the purchase process is very delicate because you need to make sure that you're buying a car that you will be importing to Costa Rica that will not give you battery issues. So we come
Mhm.
across people that have imported their own, and they end up here because the battery is bad. So that's
Mhm.
one thing that you may consider if you're willing to import a car by yourself. It's certainly not a friendly process and certainly not cheap. And we can do all that for you, and we'll carry with the risk of the warranty. So
Yeah, you're getting most of yours from California. Is that correct?
yeah, 98% of our purchases are done in California.
So
So
these
it's
are great because these are coming from a warm climate. You're not having salt issues or anything like that. And these have low mileage. I mean, I was really impressed by the one that I drove. It was like 30,000 miles. That's it. What
yeah,
was your
even
average?
some of the cars we get here, we try to stay under 30,000 miles. I mean, ideally 10, 15,000 miles. But like we recently sold well, we haven't sold that one, Ford Focus. That
Mm-hmm.
car has 3,000 miles on it. So yeah, we get that kind of deals, very low mileage. If
Holy cow.
if well, once you get your EV, you'll find out that uh, the mile or the mile count on a car is on an EV is not as important as it is on internal combustion engine. The parts
Gotcha.
wear out a lot less. You got less parts that wear out, less parts that will fail. So mileage, it's a nice to have, but is in my opinion is in an electrical vehicle is not that important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So moving along, we have the Chevrolet Spark. It's a a small car as well. It's a four-seater, four-door, and this one is one of the top sellers over here. We have the Nissan Leaf. We got Gen 2 and Gen 3. This blue one is a Gen 3. This one comes with a 40 kilowatt hour battery, a range of around 250 kilometers. Charges in L1, L2, L3. So it's a great car to have in Costa Rica. We also have the Volkswagen, the e-Golf, which comes into different configurations, 24 kilowatt hour battery and 36 kilowatt hour battery. Ranges vary from 130, 160 for the 24 kilowatt hour version and 220 plus kilometers on the 36 kilowatt hour option. We have the Kia Soul EV. This is a mini SUV. It's a 28 kilowatt hour battery on it and charges L1 and 2 L3 with the Japanese standard, the Chademo for L3.
Wow.
Very nice car. It's very comfy. It's a mini SUV, as I mentioned before, and it has a better ground clearance in case you have you come across roads that are not in that maybe bad
Yep. The gravels. The
yeah,
gravel.
travel roads. Sorry.
So Mariano,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the car that will be in Uvita soon, right? This Kia Soul EV.
Yes, correct. Yes, we're planning to take one of this same Kias to Uvita. Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a good
We'll
time.
have it down in our showroom, so anybody wants to stop by and take a look at it, this is the time to stop. I mean, these vehicles, especially the Souls, are perfect for those areas that you don't worry about going up and down hills. These EVs can take it like anything. It's got the ground clearance, and if your day-to-day commute, is 30, 40 miles, this is perfect vehicle for you.
We also have the RAV4 in the full electric version. It was a joint venture between Toyota and Tesla. So it's basically a RAV4 with Tesla drivetrain, Model S drivetrain, batteries and controllers. So it's basically a Tesla inside. It has a very good ground clearance as well. It's not listed here. I forgot about the poor RAV4, but it's a great deal because it's a 42 kilowatt hour battery. We have a customer that drives from Morotina to Ojochal and back in one single charge, 260 kilometers in charge. So it's a very efficient car. I like it very much. I used to drive the one we have, but we brought a batch of 4 or 5 of those, and this is the only one left. So I have to put it in the showroom.
Wow.
But I really enjoyed it while I drove it. It is a very, very nice car, and again, it has the ground clearance. I've driven it through creeks and stuff like that, so
Wow. It's good. It's good. Very good.
car. Moving along, we have the Bolt with the B. This is the one that Scott drove test on Guanacaste,
Mhm.
and I took one just like this to Uita. And basically, I got there with I don't know, maybe half a battery, and on the way back, charged in Dominical's fast charger, L3 charger, and got back with my wife and 2 kids, back to San Jose with from 80%, we got here like with a little bit over 30% of the battery. So very, very efficient car. Has different levels of regenerative braking and all the bells and whistles that this car has. It has a 11 inch screen and CarPlay and many things.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. That to me was incredible.
Just because we're starting to get towards the end of the presentation, and we would really like to answer some of the questions and have some discussions about that.
Yeah.
We'll be very happy to jump a little bit, maybe to address our friends' questions over here in the questions and answer blog. And also,
Okay.
I have a personal also question over here to just ask about warranties and if EV imports are providing warranties to the cars that are sold and take responsibility for different things that could occur or happen for a certain amount of time, or how does that works? Just if you can explain a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want me to answer these questions?
Yep.
Right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Let's
Yeah.
dive in.
Regular are different technology. The acid lead battery lifespan is way shorter than ion, the lithium ion batteries. Uh, Lead acid battery can last for 3 years. And as I mentioned before, we have 2012 cars that have 89% state of health. So yeah, definitely
Mhm.
that's why the high voltage or the big battery on the electrical vehicles is made out of lithium ion. That's the reason
Major-
behind it.
Majority of the lithium ion batteries, you won't ever have to change out unless it dramatically fails. So in a car or even in houses, you might get down to 10, maybe 15%, whatever the guarantee on that is, but you won't have to swap out that battery because it's not going to go below whatever it is. I think the LG's normally is about 15% discharge over a certain period of time. But in households, you're not going to throw that battery away. You're just going to add another battery. Okay. Because that battery is still operational. Lithium ion, especially cobalt, is really worth its weight in gold because the issue comes down to is there's not enough cobalt in the world. It's an infinite resource. And so, again, these batteries, unless you have a different failure that failed that battery, you're not going to swap it out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And, cycles, in terms of cycles, lithium ion, I think they'll last from 6 to 8,000 cycles. So, much better technology for long-lasting batteries. Hydrogen.
But
How about hydrogen? That's a completely different.
yeah,
It's another story. Hydrogen right now is very limited to big structures like boats or trains.
mhm.
The infrastructure to refuel hydrogen is very expensive. The cars are very expensive, and it's just not massively thought of. It will be very hard to have hydrogen cars in the near future. So that's
One
my
of one of the
recommendation.
problems that they see with the hydrogen is that it does take a lot of energy to produce those the hydrogen fuel. Okay, so what you're starting to see is like in California, they don't have enough hydrogen disbursement places. And the ones that they are doing, they're thinking about putting in solar or something to offset that, and that's the cost. Here in Costa Rica, of course, everybody probably knows about what was happening with Chan and um, his system up there in Guanacaste. He was trying to, promote the hydrogen cars. And please correct me if I'm wrong, but basically he was getting a lot of backing with the Toyota Purdy here because, well, Toyota doesn't have a full electric vehicle. And so they were trying to push the hydrogen because that's what they were trying to do is push the consumer more towards the hydrogen. But the problem is, you know, you're not every house is going to have a hydrogen cell that they're going to be able to produce water to hydrogen. Where with solar or electric, that's the attractive. You can be autonomous. Um, Now, I think doesn't he have a couple of buses up there that are actually hydrogen?
Yeah, they do. They do, but financially, it's not viable to massify the hydrogen use. So he's still with his agenda of promoting hydrogen, but it appears to be that it's just we're not there. Technology is not there. Infrastructure is not there. Electric is what we have right now. Um, for instance, it makes a lot of sense to have electrical vehicles in Costa Rica because we produce clean energy, right? Clean electricity.
Yeah. Mhm.
Whereas, for instance, if you live in Colorado, that you mostly is coal, then may not be as you're basically using not so clean energy to run a clean energy vehicle. So it doesn't make that much sense. Costa Rica certainly has that ability. So electrical vehicles seems to be worldwide the way to go if you compare it to hydrogen.
And here in Costa Rica, there's also another political aspect of that, right? As we were talking
Yeah.
about earlier, it's the issue of ISE, and their agenda is to sell power. Now all of a sudden you throw hydrogen in there, and then the other issue comes down to is would Recope take care of the hydrogen, or who would be the one be dispersing that? That's the other issue.
Yeah.
So that I think hydrogen is a kind of like a ticking time bomb because who's going to be in charge of that, right? Would ISE, would it be Recope? Who would be the one?
Yeah, it's there's a political component there that is very very complicated, especially here. We experienced that with the bill that was taken out of Congress. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so moving along with the questions, how often do you change the battery? So the electrical vehicle has two batteries: the low voltage, which is the same or very similar battery that you have on an internal combustion engine car, and that has to be changed every 3 years in average. And you have a second battery, which is the high voltage battery, and that the life expectancy here is 16 years. But
Wow.
as we mentioned before, it has proven to be benefited by the conditions here in the country. Okay, there. Do you have our phone numbers there? CSS, Chatemo. Okay, so CSS and Chatemo, that's L3 charging or
Mhm.
level 3. That's 480 volts at DC. And we sell the cars with a level 1 charging station with the option to upgrade that to a level 2 220 volts charging station. So yeah, we have both options.
And
Uh,
we also recently installed a system with Solar Edge, which actually charges up your car as a level 1, but it's charging from the solar panels, and it's actually supposed to be 6 times faster than a normal level 1 charger. It's a fast charging system.
Yep,
So
correct.
not only can you charge your car, but you can charge your house with the same inverter charger.
That's something we discussed about last time. Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. We were discussing the fact that in the near future you can have your car, which is a very big battery, a huge battery, as a matter of fact, on wheels. So you can
Mhm.
park your car during the night when you're not using it and feed your house from the battery of your electrical vehicle. You will
Mhm.
obviously need, or the technology to do this is being developed, basically to have a both or a two-way inverter to discharge part of your electrical vehicle battery and then recharge during daytime. So
Mhm.
that will be very 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 cool because you can you have a battery on wheels that you can use for nighttime use, right?
Yep, and that's right now. I mean, we can actually install bidirectional, as they call it, chargers, and the technology is here today. We don't have to wait because we already have it here. And if you actually stop by the EV imports, you'll be able to see the products that we do have to actually help you with that energy needs.
Correct.
One One of the questions I can answer here is the batteries being duty free under the new exemptions. Actually, our company, Costa Rica Solar Solutions, have been very integral part of this process of the duty free taxations on lithium ions. As of next month, the norms and all that are going to be set forth, and they will be duty free for. It's going to save a 39% tax, actually.
And do we receive trade-ins? Yes, we do. So, and we can certainly trade in your internal combustion engine car and for an electrical vehicle. To wrap this up, well, we do manage, or we sell Tesla. We sell them new, Model 3. We can, custom order your car. This white one on the bottom, I think will be here next week, available at the dealer. So you can take a look at it. It's brand new, 2020, 0 miles on it. So,
What? 0 miles?
0 miles on it. Yeah, it's a brand new car.
How much are you going to be asking for that one?
That one runs for, okay, this is a disclaimer that I have to mention here. It's very important. If you go into Tesla's website, the price that you will see there is not including the sales tax, the state tax, the title, and basically you need to add like $6,000 to $8,000 more from the price that you see on the website if you buy it in the U.S. And that's a recurring question that customers ask, because they're saying, okay, so you're charging $50,000 for a car, but it's $38,000 here in the U.S. And I said, no, it's 38 plus taxes. Tesla does not detail because it varies from state to state. Right. They don't detail or they don't give you the final dollar figure, right, or price that you will end up paying. So that's very important. This one is running for, it's a standard version. It's listed at $54,000. Wow. So, really? And handling Tesla is complicated. We have to get it in a single container. We usually get 4 cars in one container. Wow. But if you get a Tesla here, we have to get it 1 car, 1 container. So it's 4 times more expensive to ship in a Tesla than a regular car. Also, there's some duty to be paid, and some if the car comes in new, it will be tax exempted. But still, they say it's tax exempted, but there is a little fee that you have. Well, not so little. It's over $1,500 that you have to pay. So if you add the car, the value, or the value that you see on the website plus taxes, you will see that we're very competitive. We're not that far out.
Right.
So
right.
Taking that into consideration, that's $54,000 for this car is a very good deal here in the country.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at what's right now. Was it Porsche brought in theirs, and so is Audi and all that, and they're all the way up at the $80,000 to $90,000 range.
Yeah, like the Audi e-tron, it's a $90,000 car, but if you pair with this Model 3, I will stay with Tesla. It's 30 something $1,000 less, and much better car.
And longer range, right?
Yeah, and and specifically Audi is not rated that well.
Oh, really?
So, it's not in the top of.
So one of the questions here was, what about local resale value, end of life waste management for the EVs?
Okay, very good question. So you come to my dealer and you take a car and you leave with a car, and 8, 10, 12 years later, you call me out, and Mariano, I'm having issues with my battery. It's not giving me the range I need. So we have 2 options. We can sell you a new battery, which by that time will not be as expensive as they are right now. For instance, a battery for a Nissan Leaf, I can sell it to you for around $4,000 to $5,000. By that time, when you need a battery replacement, you may be looking at $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
prices drop with each year. And said that we can also repair your battery for less
Mm-hmm.
than dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go both ways. If you decide to replace your battery, we can recondition those batteries. We have many people. It will blow your mind to think about how many people are looking. They're calling here to see if we have used batteries
Oh
so that they
yeah.
can condition them to for solar.
Yep.
So it's we certainly, the amount of carbon dioxide that you will not be burning to the to the environment is certainly less polluting than a regular internal combustion engine car during the time of the car. So
And a lot of people have, really questions about the life waste management for these batteries. They don't realize when you talk to EV and you talk to LG and all that, these batteries, we can send them back to the United States and they will actually recycle them. But a lot of these batteries are not being, again, they're not being thrown into the, into the um, junkyards. They're being reconditioned. They're going through processes where they can even use them in energy storage or whatever. But the it's a totally different animal versus the lead acid batteries.
plus
And
the
lithium-ion, a whole different thing.
plus the part of the battery that is defective. 95% of the components are you can reuse, you can
Yep,
recycle.
exactly.
So it's a lot less polluting than internal combustion engine. Definitely, there is a part of the manufacturing process of the battery that has some CO2, carbon dioxide emissions, but that is compensated with the first 2 months, 60 days of the use of the car. So
Mhm.
it's a lot cleaner. To wrap this up, this is some of the projects we're currently working on. We have to the right the side by sides. We're bringing some Polaris. I think they will be here next week or in a couple of weeks. They're fully electric. Again, they are 4x4. They are very tough. They have a very decent range around, I think it's 40, 35, 40 miles per charge. And, again, it's a very good option for those that own properties where you don't have very good roads, and also if you want a car, well, a vehicle of such a nature that will drive you to the grocery store or to the beach or haul something, this is certainly a very good option. We also have the cargo version in the top middle. It's a half-ton delivery truck for those that may need one of those. We also have the bottom, the seven-seater minivan. And for those, in case you own a hotel and you want to reduce your CO2 footprint, then you can opt for one of these options. Also, we have two-seaters, which are the orange ones on the left. That's a two-seater car, and we're going to bring this because of two reasons. First, most of the time when we go to work or we travel on the day-to-day things we do it on our own. So why not
Mhm.
consider a car that will be, and this is reason number two, less than $10,000, that can take you back and forth, and
Mhm.
certainly make the most of your money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Exactly.
So Scott, that's pretty much what I have. I don't know if you have
No,
any questions.
no, I think on our end it looks pretty good. I'm just gonna switch over here and okay, let's see if everybody can see this. Again, I want to just thank everybody for attending. I hope this was informational for us. We're going to be doing a couple more. We have a couple other presentations that we really want to get out there regarding the new products that are coming out on the marketplace, and how we're going to be able to help you with your energy needs even more than what it is today. So at the end of this, I just want to say Pura Vida, and hope everybody stays safe out there and have a good day.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mariano. Scott, you can also share our contact details over there in case that people would like to contact us. And
Yep.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.